Greetings and salutations. This is Big J here. So this is a pre-record video. I hadn't done one since I ain't done a pre-record video in a long time. I think since April, and it's August 28th. Oh, actually August 26, 2025. So I did a live stream about Donald Trump and the idea of sending troops, the National Guard, into states. It is lawful. So let me say this as a prerequisite. It is lawful for the President of the United States to use the National Guard within the confines of the District of Columbia, Washington D.C., to put down riots, to put down any threat that harm anything within the confines of the Washington D.C. area. That is his right, it's his law, and so forth. Again, as a historian, that goes back during the time of the riot, during the time of George Washington. I think during his first term in Philadelphia, when there was when he tried to call troops and the troops did not answer because the troops was in the authority of the governor of Pennsylvania at the time, not in his authority. That's why I said, Washington D.C. is does not have a governor of his own. It has a city and a federal government, and the federal government act as a state within itself. So let's get that out the way. Now, Kelly Ray made a statement, and she said something about this, Trump going to Chicago, Trump going to Baltimore, Trump sending troops to Baltimore, Chicago, and L.A. and all that, right? And let me read what Kelly Ray wrote, who's another content creator. She said, if anyone's against the National Guard, why aren't people fixing it on their own? Kelly Ray, that question should have been solved by the people within the jurisdiction thereof. The 10th Amendment of the Constitution, by the way. Y'all should have fixed that yourself. That should be the governor and the state legislature to enforce laws within your own boundaries, within the boundaries of your jurisdiction. What's the solution? She says, right? Well, the solution, there is no one solution. But sending troops into areas is not it's not going to solve the problem. It's going to make it worse. And I don't necessarily like the idea either. But there are no better solutions. Yes, there are. Yes, there are. The problem is, one problem is y'all don't tell your governor, tell your state legislature to order the National Guard or the state police that hammer down on the problems within y'all's jurisdiction. That's the responsibility of the governor. on that end. Now, like the other end is, you got to fix the economy of the Midwest has been degrading since the steel industry, since the 1990s. It's been going downhill since the 1990s, and it has something to do with trade. Has something to do with that. Yeah, I know. What is people have no jobs, lack of education, and yes, you're going to produce crime, or people have no other choice but to choose crime. But the thing is, I gotta say, why vote for a president, Kelly, who's only targeting cities that have African American leadership? Baltimore, the crime in Baltimore went down. Why are you making threats to still send the National Guard within the confines of Maryland when we know that the Baltimore mayor is African American? The governor of Maryland is black. Is also African American. What's the point? You see, Kelly Ray, you don't see it. I do. The governor of Chicago, the governor of no, not governor, I mean the mayor of Chicago, the mayor of Los Angeles. All of them have to be African American. Every time, even the mayor of New Orleans. But there's worse city. But then there's no. When you go to Omaha, and I know people gonna say, "Well, Big J, Omaha just have a black mayor." Yes, the first black mayor of Omaha just got elected. He been in office for no more than 6 months. But before that, Omaha, Nebraska had crime just as bad as Chicago, but nobody's talking about it. And no, I will provide in the links below. I will provide everything in the description box because I don't talk out of my ass. I don't. See, I don't follow people. Too many people online want to follow others. I do notice that in this space, people are followers. They're not thinkers. They're feelers. Now, you said this. I'm close to Chicago. I have family there. Spent multiple months in the city. There are people begging for Trump's help. Okay, where are people begging for the mayor? Where are the people begging for? And if the mayor ain't gonna do it, why ain't y'all begging for who is the governor of Illinois, or the governor of Indiana, or the governor of fill in the blank? Because that's the governor's responsibility. And, I find it sad that people want to talk about the Constitution and the Constitution this and the Constitution that, but yet y'all kind of forget though we live in a federal society, a federal structure in governments where there's a state and federal government that we live under. And each had different roles that one can't do. There's things that the federal government can't do, and there's things that the state government can't do. But they share power. That's a state responsibility. That's your governor's responsibility. That's your mayor's, your state, your sheriff's responsibility. All this is a political thing here. Now, you sit here, you said, my issue is people who don't live in these hoods and trailer parks. Reading about it and living it are two different things. What does I'm asking Kelly? What does that post is supposed to mean? Donald Trump don't live in the hood. Donald Trump don't live in a trailer park. And he's over here messing up. I'm gonna use his. He messed up the agriculture thing down here in this country. You know, he's messing up trade. Got people's rights being made. Dr- the threat of people's jobs and lives being and so forth. Yes, I'm fortunate, quote unquote. We're not seeing crime, but guess what? Hold on. Guess what, Kelly? We can talk about Chicago all we want, right? We can talk about Detroit all we want. We can talk about Washington D.C. all we want, right? Because you thinking like this as these are the hoods and these are trailer parks. That's why I think though you and your husband need to come down to the South and see how things will live down here. I'm gonna tell you why. Because in the South, there's more crime in. You don't see no federal troops being called. You don't see people calling for federal troops in Mississippi. You don't see people calling for federal troops in Alabama. You don't see people calling for federal troops in Tennessee. When most of your prison population comes from the former Confederacy. There are more crime in the South, quote unquote, red states, conservative states, than there are in liberal states. See, all this is just lies upon lies upon lies here. Now, I'm going to read the rest of what you said, Kelly. I'm going to read the rest of what you said. Reading about it and living it are two different things. Last year, my son was walking to the corner store at noon on a Sunday, witnessed a triple homicide. Well, that's kind of like San Antonio, Southside San Antonio. You see that? That's like something like going down to South Texas towards the border. You see that too. My son called me terrified. He FaceTimed me. He saw a young girl with a chest wound, dead on arrival. Innocent bystander lose their life daily. These kids I watch play outside every day are innocent and grew up fast in an active war zone. Um, I wouldn't call that a war zone. That's a crime zone, not a war zone. If you fight in a war, you might, you talk to any soldier, any marine, or anybody, they'll tell you what a war zone really is. You don't think they have PTSD? Yes, I probably do. Yes. Why do people think this is okay? Who said is it okay, Kelly? Nobody. But quite frankly, I'm tired of both sides talking about with no action. Well, again, shouldn't you call the governor and the sheriff department and the state and county and or petition the state legislator to themselves to send the troops into into your localities and root out these problems out? Everyone complains. but they won't even join any boards or probably barely attend a PTA meeting for their own children. Stay in my house for a week and see how comfortable you'll feel outside. This is no joke. Kelly, that part about begging for Trump for help, right? And a lot of y'all keep on using this whole, you know, Donald Trump's going to save us. Y'all keep talking about the Constitution. So, Benjamin Franklin said it best, right? Benjamin Franklin said it best. Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. I'm gonna say it again. Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty or safety. See, the problem is, Kelly, you refuse to see that there is a racial component in this. You also refuse to see there is a regional component in this. Every other city, like Fresno, California, which population is mostly a white and Asian community, there's high crime there, but nobody's entertaining about sending troops to Fresno, California. Nobody's talking about sending troops to Aurora, Colorado, which is mostly Caucasian, or go to Omaha, Nebraska, which is mostly a white, uh, uh, un college educated, blue collar uh, population, or anyway, and use the term fentanyl, but yet will not send troops into West Virginia because that's where a lot of drug use has been going on for the past 15 years, and yet nobody don't want to talk about what's going on in West Virginia. See, I know the play, and I'm gonna say it like this to you, black conservatives. I want you to understand. If you keep on doing this Trump, yay, 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 rah, 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 I want you to understand this to you, black conservatives. I don't think y'all are going to be um, singing the praises in within the next 2-3 years. See, I see what's going on. And a lot of black conservatives are very, very. I'm talking about the black conservatives. I ain't talking about all the conservatives. Are very, very dishonest about what's going on. Well, we here in the red states are so good. If the red states were so good, though, how come there's poverty in the red states? How come there is an educational problem? There's more spending on criminal justice facilities than high school education down here in the former Confederacy. Explain that.